Morning, everybody. So we have some more PMI news like right now, I guess. What are we at 9:45? Yeah, we're at 9:45. Freaking gold is off in the above all our static lines and shit. God dang it. I took a crossover retest rejection of the prior day low in the NQ in the pre-market. So I'm up like $250. Nothing major. It was this right here. Where is it? Where was it? Oh, right here. So we had this crossover retest at like 846. Boom, boom. There. I took that. Beautiful, smooth pullback. I mean, look at the pullback on these. And then the reach up candle, like we're going long, and then wham, steal your money. Anyways, so that's my little steal for the morning. But other than that, I had to run payroll today. I had things to do this morning. Business related things to do this morning. Plus, I knew that we had all this news today, like 8:30 news and 9:45 news and 10 o'clock news. So I really wasn't concerned about trading too much until we get past all this BS. Some rather interesting data here in the news this morning. I mean, GDP was supposed to be 2.5%, turned out to be 1.4. That seems like some real big news. Everything else is pretty much on target. But that seems like big news. But it's y'all don't want my explanation of what GDP really is. So, because we'll be here for 15 minutes. The most manipulated number in the economy is the GDP number. Oh, good, Joey. You got that? You got that trade? Yeah, dude. That was like the smoothest butter setup. I'm sitting here working on stuff, and I looked over and I said, I didn't even have it on my main chart. I had it over here on another screen. I said, shit, I got to take that. Shit, I got to take that trade. When I saw that last green candle throw its finger way up the other side of the prior day low and then hammer back down, I'm like, oh, that's it. That's over. It's going down. It's going down. That big long tail through the top side of the prior day low. That was the sign that all is rolling over. Yeah, that was beautiful. That you can get that long tail. I mean, I'm telling you, that's the second best thing to an inside candle that gets broken in the wrong direction and then back the other way. That was just beautiful. And so one of the things kind of going off on that topic while we're sitting here waiting for the news to try to get through and stuff is I've been saying it. Some of you apparently have been listening, but in the afternoon, boy, there have been some just easy, smooth setups. I mean, I took one yesterday while I was on the phone. I am almost 100% confident it was in the NQ. And shing, shing, bam, smooth as butter, didn't take a tick of heat. And I ended up like $500 for the day. Whereas where I sat here all morning, you know, with my hands underneath my legs, because yesterday morning was just atrocious. There was no setups yesterday in the morning. We could never get ES and the NQ above the static lines or below the red line. They were just stuck. And so there was just nothing to trade. And yesterday morning was the perfect example of days that you just don't trade, you know, at least in the morning. And then in the afternoon, things kind of loosened up and, you know, the price started moving around, and I saw an absolutely, I'll see if I can find that trade. I'm pretty sure it was in the NQ. Let me go look for that while we're sitting here. See the trade I took yesterday afternoon. Pretty sure it was a static line trade. I'm pretty sure it was a static line trade. Yeah. Okay. Here it is right here. So static line trade that I took. I don't have the markers on there because my freaking strategy. But anyways, we blew through the whatever this was, prior day close or something. I don't know. Came back up on top of it, sat right there, and boom, I took that one all the way back up through this top. Boom, there was my money. I was done. That is just such a good setup. When you go through the lines, then you cross back over and sit on top of it. Bam. That was it. That was the trade I took. And I was sitting here on the phone and I'm like, God, I just got to take that. Even though I'm having a conference call about trying to design somebody's house, I've got to take that free money. I've got to take that free money. It's just free money. So I was up, I think $480 or something is what I got out of that. Something like that. That's where I ended up for the day. I mean, I haven't had a highly profitable day in a while. But I mean, but my profits have been decent. Just the market giveth and the market taketh away. And I just choose not to partake as much when it's taking it away. If I'm making any sense. The market giveth and the market taketh away. And lately it's been, doing things that will taketh away if I don't stay cautious and conservative. Yeah, exactly. Listen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again and again and again and again and again and again. If you recognize the patterns and you recognize, and it's not just a pattern, but you start, the last thing you really have to start, well, there's two things you got to do. Obviously, patience. But second of all is, patience is the most important. But secondly is recognizing when the movement of the pattern that you're anticipating is deliberate. Because when it's deliberate, when you see that the price is intentionally going from here to here, that's when you should recognize, Okay, they literally went out of their way to bring it from here to here, and they cleaned out all those stops, and now they're going to deliberately take it from here to here. It's the deliberateness. It's not just that the candles, it's, for example, it's not just that the candles came over and sat on the 5-minute gold line. No, it's not that. It's not that at all. Did it deliberately go there so that it'll deliberately leave? And when you start recognizing the deliberateness, just like the trade I showed you in the NQ, that was at like 1:30 in the afternoon or something yesterday afternoon, and it deliberately blew through the prior day open. I can't remember which one that was, prior day open, prior day close, whatever it was, and then deliberately came back to it. That's it. I mean, those candles were deliberate. They went from just kind of meandering to all of a sudden, wham. Let me grab this phone. It's the doctor. Hold on. Sorry about that. Morning, Nadine. I'm scheduling more, David. I have a couple more procedures they want to run on me because they're not sure what the problem is. So I have to do a couple procedures in the next couple weeks. But again, so far, all the testing and stuff has hopefully ruled out any major things, any major problems, one of the tests will definitely rule out some major things. But we'll see. It's never good, though, when the doctor sits there and goes, I've had 2 doctors now. I've already been to 2 different doctors. It's never good when 2 doctors sit there and go, yeah, I'm not sure. What? What do you mean? What do you mean you're not sure? You don't know what's going on. All right, I'm just going to sit on my hands and wait for that 10 o'clock news to get by, and then see if we can get something going. My main partner in crime is the RTY and the YM to try to make money, here on the live stream. And as of right now, they seem to be waiting for the 10 o'clock news too. Because see, the RTY is literally in this shit storm, just like yesterday. So hopefully after we get through the 10 o'clock news, the RTY starts agreeing with the YM and starts going long, and we can find a nice, easy place to make some money. That's a good one. Another thing, Uber. It's it's like the pharmacy industry. They're not there to cure the symptoms. They're there to just mask them so that you're never fixed. You know what I mean? So the saying is something along those lines. You know what I mean? If I cure people, then they won't keep buying my medicine. You get that idea. You know what I mean? All right. So here's the 10 o'clock news, and we should, If you're looking at your equities, you'll see why we didn't take any trades until that 10 o'clock news was over, because now they're acting all stupid again. So we got to get through it. I can only lose my money once. Remember that. So I'm here to make money. I'm not here to lose it. Good one. That's a good one, Bruce. That is a good one. That's a good one, Bruce. Now I have, Bruce, I have zero issue with the pharmacists themselves. It's the pharmacy industry that I have issues with. But pharmacists, no, I don't have a problem with pharmacists. I mean, they're not the ones that make the decision on what drugs I take. I find it interesting, though, whenever I go to the doctor. Jesus, look at that. Holy cow. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. Yeah, this is why we stay away from the news. This is why we stay away from the news. Yeah, this is exactly why we stay away from the news. This is good news, though, hopefully, because now we got the RTY and the YM on the same side of the table. So hopefully we can get something with those either one of those two instruments. That'd be the best scenario for all of us. We catch a nice swing in the RTY or the YM this morning, make $400, $500, $600 and then call it a day. That is my preferred. That's my preferred scenario. That is definitely my preferred scenario. All right, look at those things. All right, let's get over. Look at this. Look at that RTY. Whoo, doggy. All right, now it's broken out of all its crap here, so that's good news. We had a lot of crap right here above it. We had 1, 2, 3. There's really 4 static lines in its way here that we finally blew through. So hopefully we can come back and maybe test the top of one with a little assistance of the YM matching up at the same time. That would be nice. Well, because be honest with you, Danny, because they were waiting for that final piece of news to then finally start moving shit around. That's my opinion. It's not that news was even important. I mean, what was it? Housing starts or some shit? And consumer sentiment? Yeah. And I'm looking at the numbers right here. The housing start numbers are pretty much right on line with the anticipated numbers. So, there's no shockers there or anything. Probably the number one thing I'm going to try to get across to you guys in these live streams is that dreaded P word that none of you like to talk about because y'all want to push buttons and y'all want to make money. And I get that, but it's that word patience. It's that word patience. And for you older gentlemen like me, that are just, really have a goal of, putting $200 to $400 in your pocket a day, which is really my whole objective since I started this YouTube channel. Patience is our number one ally. That's our number one ally is patience. Because, kind of like that little NQ trade I took this morning. I mean, I could probably sit here all day and not see a better setup than that one. Patience pays. Exactly. You're supposed to be a sniper. Remember, the algos don't. I'm going to go back to this. I'll say it 50 freaking times until people start listening. The algos don't give a rat's ass what time of day it is. They don't sleep. They don't go to the bathroom. They don't go take coffee breaks. They don't do any of that shit. They don't have appointments at freaking at 10:30. So you've got to be patient until the deliberateness happens and sets up the pattern that you're used to and fits your eye and is going to and has the ability to give you the profit margin that you're looking for. All right, I'm going to shrink this up here. Oh yeah, GC is Jesus. GC is just right now. If you jump into GC, you are really risking throwing away some money. Yeah, Danny, the longer I sit here and do this, the less trades I take. It's the longer the longer I do futures trading, the less trades I take. And do I necessarily make more money over time? I do, because I don't have any of those days where I freaking lose, thousands of dollars anymore. But I also don't have any of those days where all of a sudden I make a whole ton of money. But this is not, remember, I don't know. It's hard to explain. We just might be getting a setup we're looking for here. This would be really nice if these things would both hit on top of here. See that the YM is at the overnight open. The RTY is getting there, but it's also sitting, potentially go long off the prior day high. I prefer the damn thing would go down further. Damn it. Go down further. Go down further. I want both of you to go down further. Oh, Jesus, I didn't. Well, that would have been the setup there. If it goes back through it, I'll take it. All right, I'm in. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go. 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 There you go. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Patience. Patience. When it went through the first time and came back inside, I just said to myself, if it goes through again, I'm going to take it, because that means the battle to the upside is more likely to win. I wasn't going to take it unless it came down inside and then back up. I wasn't so excited because this barely touched the overnight open right there. Barely touched. I mean, barely on the RTY. So I was a little concerned about this one. I've said this before. The prior day high is really prior day high and the prior day low, which, by the way, the NQ trade I took this morning was the prior day low. Those are the most powerful lines, I believe, honestly, on these charts, because of the mental side of keeping the market either long or keeping the market short. Good job, Gene. Good job, Gene. Woo! Good for you, Gene. And then that's it. We're done for the day. And then that's it. We're done for the day. I mean, had to wait. But there it is. Now, this is probably most likely to roll all the way up to here now, at least until this runs out of gas over here at the open. So 2 days ago, when we took the exact same trade, if you remember, I took it in the YM. Today, I took it in the NQ. In the RTY. I was more interested in the RTY setup than I was in the YM setup because again, we're going off the prior day high, and I was not convinced that we actually pierced the overnight open here. Good job, Nadine. There you go now, Nadine. There you done. Now don't freaking do something and lose it. That's it. I mean, that's it. That's it. I mean, but what did we do today? What did we do today? What did we do today? We waited till the news was over and we let the market show a pattern that everything agreed. The YM agreed with the RTY, and there we went. Patience. 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 Well, KM, if you saw what I did, I let it go through and I let it go back down. I was going to let it go, meaning I was going to let it go. If it had just run right off, I wasn't going to jump in because I still think there's a little bit of hesitation because we did not clear out this line here. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a W pattern here. Does anybody see a W pattern setting up? Oh, shit, we might have a W pattern. I might have to do this again. Hold on. So, because we went up and then we've deliberately come back. This is the, okay, hold on. Let me blow this up. Jesus. Hold on. We might have a W pattern. Okay, so we have a bottom here and we have a new bottom here. Okay. And we went from here to here up. This is our pivot point, deliberately down. And then our W pattern would be, we got to hold this pivot right here. And then this would be our W back through the high. I'm not going to do it. It's Friday. I made $650. Did we just break the pivot here? See, we're testing it. Here's our dots. We're testing it. We're testing it right at it. We're right at it. Oh, we went through it. Okay. Forget it. Forget it. That could have been a beautiful W pattern. It may still be a W, but it's going to be reversed of what I like because it's going to have the right side lower than the left side. Of course, what they may be doing too, because they didn't do it the first time, is remember when they ran this one up, they did it off the prior day high, but they hadn't cleaned out the top. See, we blew through all these. Let's talk about this for a second. What's possibly going on right here? See, we blew through all these lines. We've only tested the top of this line. We hadn't tested the top of these two lines or this line. You know, and a lot of times support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support. And you can see the resistance right here. They bounced off the prior day open right here. So they may want to come and test the prior day open before they run it back up. Does that make sense? The YM, if it W's at the same time that the NQ at the RTY finds support, my concern with the YM is I just don't even see it piercing the overnight open here. It's like it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird how that pattern is. It'd be interesting to see if we do test this line and then go back up. It will be interesting because remember, they have not tested the top of that line, that prior day open. If you remember when this was happening, I kept saying, I want you to go lower. I want you to go lower. The reason I wanted it to go lower is I wanted it to test more of the lines, because I just feel like they want to test the top of the lines after they blow through them. Anyways, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Free money. Free money, folks. It's just like free money. You take it, you put it in your pocket, and you shut your screens off, and you go about your day. And you sat here and waited and waited and waited until all the reindeer games were over from the freaking news. We've done this exact trade twice this week. Exact trade twice this week. Remember I talk about rinse, wash, repeat? Rinse, wash, repeat. Boy, gold is just being ridiculous. Holy shit. Gold is just being ridiculous. Yeah, too far now. Yep, too far now. Maybe let's go look at the YM. No, it did test. It crossed over. See, the YM did cross over and test the top of the prior day low. I was thinking maybe they want to test the prior day low. No, it doesn't look like it. One tick, MB. Okay. I couldn't tell. I don't want to put my glasses on because then it screws up my ability to actually see. I know that sounds kind of crazy. It screws up my ability to actually see. Oh shit, man! I love that. I love that trade. And remember, what did I say 25 minutes before that ever happened? I said what we need is the YM and the RTY to agree, so we can take that nice easy setup off of one of those two. And that's exactly what happened 25 minutes later. Yeah, the only problem with that, Jim, is we're going right back into those big static lines. But and of course now the pattern's blown. It's not going to do it. Look at that. Look at the YM. Jesus. That's pretty interesting. So they really did ultimately do that. They tested the top of the prior day open. This candle closed right at it. Interesting. That pullback was so damn deep. I mean, I just wasn't confident in that. Anyway, so I took 2 trades today that were just like smooth as butter. One off the ironically, one prior day high trade, RTY, and one prior day low trade, NQ. And just cha-ching, cha-ching. And both of them were the same. Crossover, retest, crossover, retest. Both of them had the exact same pattern. This went through the high and had a nice smooth pullback. Boom, gone. The RTY one went through the low. I mean, the NQ one went through the low, smooth pullback right to the line. Boom, drop down. Just like that. Same 2 trades. Then I got $650 in my pocket, and I literally risked hardly anything. Literally risked hardly anything. This candle right here is pretty dynamic. This green candle, Jesus. Yeah, that green candle was pretty dynamic, I must admit. It looks like the ES and the NQ are stuck in a quagmire. There's not much going on with either one of them. Yeah, yeah. I be honest with you, Danny. I really would have. I would have. When it took off that YM, I would have definitely been. Uh, I would have definitely been expecting it to go to that prior day open. But again, so let me show you something, Danny. So let me show you something. You took the RTY version, right? On those rejections like that, where it's running and running and running. I mean, I'm going to show you something. So you see this candle right here? When it closed, I mean, if your stop was here, you'll see that's what everybody else did. You go over here on those immediate rejections, same thing here. When this candle closed on the YM, when it broke everybody, I mean, that's where the stops were lined up, the stop losses, and they just back down. I mean, so you could have salvaged something out of them. Anyways. Okay, I'll check MB. Yeah, I believe you. I believe you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I can't see. I mean, I think if I got the writing in the way and stuff like that. But yeah, I know what you mean. You can check the data box, but on the fly, I don't have time to F around, on the fly. But see, what was nice about this YM trade, okay? What was nice about the YM trade? After this, you had an inside candle. Bing. I mean, so the YM trade was really just as good of a setup in general as the RTY. I just wanted the RTY one because it was off the prior day high. It stuck its finger through, came back inside, boom, I put my order there, bam, it was gone. Yeah, hunting for stops. Yep, hunting for stops. And when they were hunting for these stops, by the way, see, they really dirty dogged us today because they ended up, and because this is going to roll its way up through here. They did do the W pattern. They just did it really, really dirty dog way. They cleaned out stops on top of stops. And then so this should roll back up through here, minimum through this pivot. And then it's just a big ugly W, a side, not the direction I want, because remember, this is where the dots are first. This is where the dots are second. When you have the dots coming down from the top, price is supposed to be going down, not up. And same thing with here. Here's where your dots are. You can't see it because this is yellow, but here's where your dots are from the bottom. And then here's your new dots. So that means price is going down. But the reality of it is it isn't because of these static lines. It isn't because of these static lines. The static lines are gonna defy the price action. Yeah, the YM may have made more money. Yeah, it may have. It certainly went further by looking at it. But again, I mean, I hit the YM one earlier this week, exact same trade, because I like the way it set up better than the RTY. And today I like the way the RTY set up better than the YM. But either way, I'll take my money. Either way, I'll take my free money. So now we're kind of stuck in a quagmire because of like all that excitement and explosion. We have, let me throw this out of the way for a second. Let me blow this back up. But you've got the NQ sitting like this, like just nothing. And you got the ES sitting like this. You know, I mean, yeah, the ES had a beautiful, matter of fact, it might have lined up with that RTY, probably did. The ES finally, see over here, the ES did not test the prior day open, ran up, came back down. Then it did test the prior day open, and bam! Did anybody take any ES trades and make money like that one right there? Did anybody take that ES trade? I know some of you in here just look at the ES, which are probably the smarter people in this group. Probably the smarter people in this group are the ones that are just taking these ES trades. But they're both stuck now. The ES and the Y and the NQ, they're stuck because they're stuck between these two lines. Neither, Treeman, neither. If I had to put a tag on it, I would say the YM, because that's the Dow, and the ES, which kind of mirrors the NQ a lot. The ES is the S&P 500. So if I had to say which two, more mirror, I would definitely say, because here, let's just look at it. Here's your ES, right? And here's your YM. Don't they look almost exactly the same today? But that happens to be what's going on today. In general, the YM and the RTY mirror each other more often. And by the way, if you're going to use both, let me point this out. If you're going to use, say, the RTY and the YM as a checkmate to each other for a trade, like we've done all week and made good money doing, make sure that they're actually running the same pattern, because they don't necessarily run the same pattern every day. Meaning, sometimes there's something going on in the Dow with, one of the Dow companies that just makes it act differently. See, that's what you got to understand. There may be something going on in the Dow that makes it act differently than the market in total. And if you look at the charts, you'll be able to recognize that, and then don't worry about that. Start looking for the ones that are patterning each other, because that's how money's flowing in and out. And so it does it across the markets. So if you look at all three of these, which I can't put them all on at the same time, but the NQ, the ES, and the YM are absolutely mirroring each other today. Candle for candle. But that's not every day. Instead, most of the time, I find it's the NQ and the ES, and it's the RTY and the YM. But it doesn't take long to look to your left and then look to what's going on right now and seeing that they're mirroring each other. And when they are mirroring each other, they become a check as to, gee, the RTY just hit the prior day close. Should we take the long here? Well, no, because the instrument it's mirroring, the YM, is in la land with no support for that same trade. Am I making money? I mean, am I making sense? God, am I making money? I made money, yes. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? You got to use a little bit of common sense. It just happens to be today that all four are literally matching each other. But if I see because of such commonality, if I see the YM and the RTY agreeing with each other for a setup, that's where that's going to be my go-to. If I see the NQ and the ES agreeing with each other for a setup, that's what I'm going to go with, because that's my go-to. By the way, if you go back and you look at that, if you go back and you look at that that NQ trade I took this morning off of a rejection of the prior day low, if you go back and look at that setup, go look at the ES for the exact same candles. You will see that the ES had a 1 minute gold line trade, absolutely perfect setup, short at the exact same time. So that was like confirmation of confirmation. And the ES1 went and my NQ1 went at the same time, candle for candle. They're both $5 a tick. RTY and YM are $5 a tick. Neither one trumps either one of them. Neither one trumps either one of them. They're both $5 a tick. That's why I trade both of them, the RTY and the NQ, with two contracts, just to kind of equate it out to, you know, a gold trade. Now, I don't trade the NQ with $5 a tick with two, because the NQ is just total. That's total different dynamite. I mean, when the NQ decides it's going one direction or another, it's much more violent, because it's $5 a tick also, but it's a different type of tick. Let me give you an example for those of you that may not know this. So, like if you trade like at TD Ameritrade or Schwab or whatever the hell they call themselves nowadays, if you trade there, I just happen to know this because I asked a trader who does trade on TD Ameritrade this strategy. I asked him what the leverage dollars were currently, because if you guys remember, I've been bitching that they need to raise the leverage amount for gold because gold is absolutely insane lately. Anyway, so he pulled it up. The dollar amount, and I'm going to be off a few bucks, but the dollar amount required in leverage to take one contract in the NQ is about $46,000. So you have to have $46,000 in your account to take one contract in the NQ. In the YM, in the RTY, and in the ES, it's more like $20,000 to $25,000. Okay. Remember, the ES is $12.50 a tick, but because it's less violent, you don't need as much leverage to get in it. So I said to him, I said, well, what are they charging to do a gold trade? And that answer, which by the way, when I first started doing lives, gold was $500 in Ninja. Over at TD Ameritrade right now, it's either $52,000 or $56,000. So it's even more than the NQ. If to give you an idea of the violence that gold is in right now, I believe. Let me just throw a trade on my chart up here for gold. I think gold is still $2,000. Let me just put an order on here. Yep, it's $2,000. When I first started these live streams, it was $500. So they have fourfolded. Ninja has fourfolded the requirement to get one contract in gold. Fourfolded it in what, 4 or 5 months? Insane. But I mean, gold is just. Now, I do think that they'll draw that down soon because gold is starting to calm down. It's starting to settle in that right at that $5,000 an ounce range. It's not acting as insane anymore. Right. Well, and that's why, Gene, and I've told you guys, if you're trading if you're trading prop firm money, if you're trading a prop firm, I mean, the last instrument you need to put on your damn chart is gold. I mean, the last thing is gold. And the second to last thing is NQ. I mean, you can sit here with prop firm money and look at that YM, ES, and RTY and just well, what, gold, Gene? Yeah, because you're probably trying to come back from a loss. Trust me, NQ has, you know what, NQ has done that for me. I've said it multiple times on these live streams that when gold has snapped me lately, it has been the NQ that has got me my money back. It has been the NQ. But, you know, I'm just dealing with one forest fire. Yeah, cowboy, exactly. I want to make clarification. That just means you've gone cowboy. But so like when I fix my loss in gold with NQ, I'm just replacing fire with fire. But a good time to trade the NQ, really, you know, I hit a nice, beautiful NQ trade today in the pre-market, and in the afternoon is a good time to, you know, look at NQ because it has nice rotations that'll make you $200, $300, $400 without the stress that the early morning does in the NQ. I mean, the NQ is a beast. Probably the same. Tea time. It's NQ has not changed for me. But it's $1,000. Let me confirm that right now. Again, let me just throw a trade on my screen. It was 1,000 when I started my live stream, and it's still 1,000. Yeah, NQ's been 1,000 for a long, long time because the violence in NQ has not increased. It's just its standard beast that it always is. So it's still $1,000. And the ES is 500. The YM and the RTY are 500 a contract. And then, you know, gold is $2,000. And that's why when I started my account, my live, I started it with $5,000 just to give me some cushion also. I'm pretty sure Jim started his with $5,000. Don't hold me to it, but I do know January 1st of this year, he cleaned out his account, and his account balance to start the year was $25,000, which I wish I kind of wish I had done that instead of, because I kept draining mine back down to $5,000. And then that caused me, because I drained it back down to $5,000, it caused me to have to be really conservative when gold made the moves that it made in January. I really couldn't capitalize on it. I had to go because the violence and the swings were so great. I could not capitalize on it like he did. So the ES, I don't know if anybody was looking at it. I'm sorry, I'm talking. But the ES did a you know, a little crossover, the little pivot high rotation to the prior day open, and here's your rotation. So it crossed over the prior day open. See how it crossed over the prior day open? Just happened to come from a recent high because it broke these pivots to the long side. So instead of these downside, remember I talked about the downside, you had this down, this down. See, this is down from here. So it gives you the belief that you're going short. Well, the ES tried to help you out by breaking that high there, coming back down to here, and that's the rotation now. Yeah, that's yeah, Gene. I just, you know, now I had some advantages. Let me be honest. I mean, I'm just, you know, I had a couple advantages over some of you guys, and even Gene in the respect that, I mean, not Gene, Jim, Jim. I didn't have to lease Ninja or any of that stuff to break myself away from the prop firms. You know, because I use Ninja and I have this channel and that kind of stuff. Ninja, the organization, I didn't ask for this. They gave it to me. I didn't ask them to give me Ninja. They gave it to me for free. They gave me a lifetime account for free. So that's one advantage I have over any of you guys that are going to break away from the prop firms. You know, I'm just, you know, full disclosure of that. Look at these dirty dogs. So here's what they, look at that. So they came down, came up, came and retested, and then rotated up. Look at that. That's some dirty dog stuff right there. Even in the ES, that is some dirty dog stuff right there. Even in the ES. Remember the pattern, because this, now here's the dots for the low here. Here's the new dots for the low. So we have a higher low, and we have a higher high. So the rotation should be for this to go up through here. But see, that's some dirty dog stuff, because they know a lot of traders got in here. They know that. You know, the algos know a lot of traders got in here off that prior day open. So they came up, broke. So watch this. This is just some dirty dog stuff. So they broke this pivot from the downside and then rolled back over and retested it again. I mean, that is some dirty dog stuff that even the ES does once in a while. Absolute dirty dog stuff. I mean, and that's wicked dirty dog stuff, because we're talking this rotation from here to here is over 10 points in the ES. That's a lot. Look at that. And it's going to do what I said. It's going to go through that high, because they told you they were going to right here. When they did this, they told you when they come back down here and test, they're going to go through that high there. When you start seeing those patterns, it'll help you recognize things. Good job, Danny. Anyways, well, damn. That was amazing. Go through by a couple ticks and then roll it right back to the prior day open and then roll it up. Now they just hit even right there. That was even. That was even right there. They went even with that top to the tick. Interesting. I mean, they went even to the tick. Let's see if it gets through that, because pattern-wise, it should go through. It's going to have major resistance right here at the prior day high. But there it is. Okay, so now it went through. Now that's its confirmation that it ran its pattern. That's the pattern. They showed you that when they broke this high here, came down, hit here, that they were going to go back through that top. But they sure made it painful when you did it. I'm done too, Danny. I'm happy with my money. I'm right at $650, I think, something like that. Yeah, 630. I guess commissions is, but yeah, I'm at 630. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's a good number. Anyways, but when you just start seeing the games that are being played, you just have to kind of join the game. Yeah. Well, exactly, Charles. Exactly, Charles. Yeah, I get that, Charles. Charles, I get that. I get that. I get that. Trust me, Charles. Listen. I'm a walking poster child for what Charles wrote there. I am the walking poster child for what Charles wrote there. I am. Walking poster child for what Charles wrote right there. No. No, Bill. No, Bill. And why? Because, well, first of all, even if this candle formed here, I don't have much room right back to here. I mean, this is resistance right here. I don't have room to make money. That's why. Honestly, because I don't have room to make money. That's why. Ah, well. I don't I I know, Gene, going back to what you're saying, and I don't pay attention much to that stuff, but that is the only way the government funded itself before Woodrow, I'm a piece of shit Wilson became president of the United States. That was exactly how the government funded itself. So I'm not sure who set the limits back then. Was it, in the War of 1812, who created the tariff limits to fund that war? Was it, I mean, I'd have to go back and do some research. Was it Congress, or was it the president, or what? I don't know. Okay, so now we have okay, so let me get prepared in case we do get a setup here. All right, because now we have both the ES and the NQ through the prior day highs, okay, together at the same time. See, so maybe we'll get a retest from either one for a potential long. Woodrow Wilson was the worst president in the history of the United States. Worst president in the history of the United States. I contend that the American people should go to his gravesite, dig him up, and kick his ass. And his wife too. More than Biden, absolutely more than Biden. Biden wouldn't even exist if it wouldn't have been for Woodrow Wilson. No, you need to do some research, Bruce. Woodrow Wilson is the worst president in the history of the United States. He did some extremely corrupt things that enslaved the American people. He violated everything that Thomas Jefferson tried to stop us from doing in this country. He defied everything that this country was founded on, every principle. He is literally the world's biggest piece of shit. Oh, come on. You didn't come back here. I'm not looking at the GC, Danny. Sorry. Man, shit. The CES is looking like it wants to go long here. I really needed this to test that line. Freaking crap. Well, I mean, the long is right here in the ES. I'm just not going to take it. There it goes. There it goes. That was the setup. I should have taken it, obviously. I was trying to be greedy. I wanted this to test. It missed it by a couple ticks before we took that. But this hopefully now will roll up through the high if anybody's in it. I mean, we had an inside candle, yada, yada, yada. I mean, it's a decent setup. Oh, yeah, Biden wasn't the president. That's the problem with Biden. He wasn't the actual president. His staff was the president. You have to show up to work to be the president. Let's see here. Let's look at gold. Man, look at those moves in gold. Look at that, right down to the anybody watch this today? Look at that, right down to the prior day close. Look at that. Woo! Wow. That was some amazing recovery from the prior day close. Holy shit. I mean, there's nothing there that I could have. So the distance, just to give you the violence of gold while we're sitting here, and the ES is going all the way to the high, damn it, and I didn't take the trade. The top of this candle, which is your entry here, which of course it worked. I get all that for over $1,000. But I mean, this to this is $1,800. This candle right here is an $1,800 candle. $1,800. Does that give you an idea why gold is so damn expensive to trade right now? You got to give you an idea why gold is so expensive to trade right now. This candle right here, $1,800. Man, that was some violence. And I just, I don't have the stomach for that. Pattern-wise, it worked because it came right back to the prior day high, shot down. I mean, that was $1,000. This break to the downside was $1,000. This break to the upside to this line was $2 more grand. Looks like that gold line and red line are going to work. Holy shit. Is the ES going through the high? Yep, it's walking its way there. Man, Bob. I don't know. I didn't want to give up any more of my money. I got a nice comfortable dollar amount for the day, nice comfortable dollar amount for the week. I mean, my week is 2,700, I think, for the week, something like that. It's a pretty good number. I think I'm at 2,700. Six. Yeah, I'm probably right around there. You're in it, Treeman? All right. What would have appealed to me more is that 5-minute gold line, to be honest with you. No, that's another thing, Danny. When I say I'm up 2,700 this week, it was I had to be really selective this week to do that. You know, I could have easily lost, you know, $500, $600, $700 in a day with just some of the setups just not being, you know, ideal, me being less selective. The market never showed me signs this week that it was an agreeable market to trade. Keep in mind, this is a 4-day trade week. This is a 4-day trade week. So when I say $2,700, that's 4 days. You know, that's not bad. Yeah, $675 a day. That's not bad. Now, I had to remember that it was only a 4-day trade week. And I think part of the reason the trading wasn't that good this week was because it was a holiday week, you know, on Monday. I expect next week to be better. That's just my thought. I think next week is going to be a better week to trade. Yeah, Gene, and keep in mind, and Jim and I have talked about this, okay? So just so you guys know, Jim and I have talked about this. He's if you guys have noticed, he's kind of toned down his stuff in the chat room because he doesn't want to he does not want to he doesn't want to say and or lead somebody into a trade that doesn't follow the situation they're in, meaning with, you know, prop firm, you know, whatever. He is, you know, he and I talked about that. He's like, yeah, I can't do, I got to stop doing that because, you know, like when gold was being really crazy in January, I mean, he, you know, guys, he was making some absolutely ridiculous money. But I was like, dude, you cannot say that stuff in here because people think they should just be jumping in with your trades and they got, you know, prop firm accounts that they can only make X or they can only do this. And he's like, yeah, I got to stop that. And so, because, you know, the main objective of me with this live stream stuff is not to teach somebody how to take a trade and make $10,000 this week like Jim does. It's to teach you how to recognize a trade and be successful in a prop firm so that you can get yourself out of the prop firm world. And I'm still mentally myself going through that evaluation process myself. of breaking away the habits that I've gotten from being in a prop firm. And, you know, because I've gotten some habits in the prop firm that have not helped me in my live trading. You know, cutting off trades too early, things like that. Especially in instruments like gold. In gold, I really need to let gold. Like here's a crossover retest of the 5-minute gold line in gold. Okay. This is the trade I've talked about with Jim that he likes. So boom, boom. I have to give myself the confidence to take that trade and get at least $1,000 out of it, like Jim does, instead of just being satisfied with getting, you know, $400, $500 or whatever. Because that trade warrants that amount of money, especially for the risk that you're taking in the trade. No, it's not that. Listen, Commish, he'll tell you. He's as honest as the day is long. He'll tell you he was struggling the same as everybody in this room. He spent 6 years losing $130,000 trading. 6 years. So, you know, I know he's not in here today. He's at a softball tournament with his daughter. So he's not in here today, but he lost 130 grand in 6 years. And he has said it in this live stream too. And you know, so he's you know, he knows he sucked also until he really started understanding price action. And he's evolved further than me by far in terms of, you know, his ability to manage the trades and to get the most out of them, which is excellent, you know. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Gene. I totally agree with that, Gene. Like, you know, let's talk about rules for a second. If I got anything out of, and by the way, Jim is an Apex trader also. If I got anything out of Apex, it was to the number one thing I got out of Apex was to stop me from being a fucking cowboy. Because I had to do like what I did today. I had to take very selective trades. I had to make, like, say, $650 like I did today, and then stop. That's an Apex trader. And so what I need to do now is evolve past that, per se, when the market conditions are conducive. And I did in January. Hell, guys, I don't know if you guys remember, but I had a day in January, and it was when gold was acting real ridiculous. But I had one day in January, I made $9,200 in one day. That was the day Jim made that ridiculous number I posted in here one day. I don't remember it. I don't remember the number, but it was a huge number. Yes, it is motivational, Danny. I totally agree. I've told Jim that he's now giving more to me than I'm giving him now. You know what I mean? I gave him the path. Now he's giving it back to me because he's showing me that I should really be getting more out of. And he's not showing me intentionally. He's just showing me by his actions that I should be getting more out of what I'm doing. You know? Yeah, stick to the process and then get there. Was it 105? I think you're right, Stuart. I've got the email. I've got the actual. I've actually got the screenshot off his screen, and I also have his brokerage account. He sent it to me. Let me see if I can find it, because I don't remember. Monster Day. It was January 29th. Net of commissions. His commissions were like $700 that day. It was 108.8. 108.8. 108.8. I got it right here. And he sent me a picture of his Jeep that he paid off. He did. He sent me a picture of his Jeep that he paid off. So I sent him a picture of my Jeep that I bought with my trading from last year. Year 9, I think the only reason I will stop is not waking up because I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just need to get there. Gene, I will tell you this. If it wasn't for Apex, I wouldn't be where I am today. And when the reason I say that is because I never would have outlaid the money to put myself back in the ring of getting my face punched. And what they allowed me to do was to do it in a manner that it wasn't costing me money. It's like one trader that's in here last week, or not 2 weeks ago or whatever, he came in here and posted, he said, I lost $60 in prop firm accounts. And I said, that's better than losing 6,000. Because that was me. And that used to be Jim, where we're using our real money and we're losing, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a day for a year and a half. Not every day, but in general, because you'd have those days where you did stupid shit, where you buy into losing trades and stuff like that. And Apex, if good, bad, ugly, whatever, they broke me of those habits. Took a while. And now I'm free to do what it is I do with my own accounts. And, one day I'll be Jim. The thing that messed with my mind with Apex is that even though I got paid, when the talk of people getting payout denied started, I lost faith. Very accounts less responsibly. Yeah. Well, okay. So train wreck. So what happened to me had nothing to do with that, because I knew why people were being denied. Come on, man. When you're buying $20 accounts and you're taking 10 of them and you're going long in gold, and you're taking 10 and you're going short in gold. And of course, half of them are going to pass the eval, the 10 either short or long are going to pass the eval. And then you go get a PA and you do the same thing with the PAs. You take 5 and you go long in gold, and you take 5 and you go short in gold. And then you go, I want my payout. When you're doing stupid shit like that, which is exactly what these people were doing, and then they were getting denied their payout, I'm like, yeah, because you didn't prove you can trade. Anyways, what got me was that I started, because I was making money trading with Apex, I started not taking the accounts seriously. I mean, I delivered 4 houses this month in my business. That's about $500,000 out of my checking account just to pay for those houses to be shipped. Okay. Does a $30 account seem to me like it's going to be important? No. I'm not trying to say anything derogatory. I'm just trying to talk about reality. And so what started happening to me when I first started at Apex, it wasn't, 90% off shit and stuff like that. But then, the account started not becoming valuable to me, and I started not respecting the accounts, and therefore my trading patience and all that kind of stuff started going away, and it was creating bad habits again. So I had to get out. I had to get out of prop firms because the accounts no longer meant anything to me. If I'm making any sense. Yeah, I'm up 650, Treeman, or 630. So I mean, hey, it's a good day. It's a good day. It is a good day. The ES, is it doing? Oh shit! Hold on here. Let me get this over here. Where's the NQ? Where's the NQ? Where's the NQ right now? Where's the NQ right now? How come I can't find my NQ chart? Damn it! Where is my freaking? Oh, here. Where's my NQ chart? This is ES also. Let me put NQ in here. Damn it! Oh, it's out in La La Land. Oh, the NQ is right there, you dumbass. Jesus. I have two ES charts on my screen for some reason. Because we retested the prior day high here in the ES, but what we did not do is have any support in the NQ at the same time. Danny, the funny part is, Danny, I'm cheap also. I am. In real life, I'm cheap. But Apex made it real easy for me. Now I'm going to add another caveat onto this. Apex made it real easy for me to trade under my corporate umbrella. So the $30 for the account was hitting my account that I paid $500,000 for houses for, not my personal checking account. They made it easy for me to do that. They made it real easy. All I did was ask. They said, sure. And they linked all. So when they paid me my payouts, they paid it straight to my corporate account also. And I just traded under my S Corp. So, so the $30 really wasn't doing anything to me. You know what I mean? That made it even worse, to be honest with you. Well, I'm going to call it a day. I gave you guys my gym lesson of the day. and another summation of my journey today. I took 2 trades today and made good money. Yeah, I know, T-Time. God dang it. Trust me, even to this day, I think about that. Like what I did today, if it was across 20 accounts, I do that, you know what I mean? I start thinking stupid shit, Anyways, everybody have a good day. Have a nice weekend. I do honestly believe that next week is going to be a better week to trade than this week because it'll be a 5-day trading week. And therefore, the Sharks will all be in the tank, hopefully, starting Monday. I'll talk to you guys later.